Both the Democratic and Republican parties are in favor of Amendment 1 because they want these beautiful lakes and wetlands to continue to be a part of our state. However, the opposers are worried that the amendment will increase their taxes. Now, vendors say they saw a rapid increase in their business for FAMU's homecoming, and they are expecting the same turnout and the same rapid business increase for FSU's homecoming. While male breast cancer is extremely rare, the physicians here at Tallahassee Memorial Hospital still want men to come in to get their mammograms and perform self-check exams monthly to protect themselves from this disease. There are more opposers than supporters of the newly proposed Guns on Campus bill because of what happened right here at Stroger Library just last fall. Many Tallahassee residents are worried that if this bill is passed, more tragedies such as that one may happen again. For News 20 at 5, I'm Keira Green. In the U.S. today, 1 in 4 people have some sort of mental illness or disorder. According to NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, these disorders are of the brain and they disrupt a person's thinking, feeling, moods, and ability to relate to others. Dr. Sandra Van Pelt, a survivor of bipolar disorder and member of NAMI, shared her fight with mental illness.
My world fell apart. No one knew what was happening. My husband was overwhelmed by my bizarre behavior. So he called 911. They took me away in a straitjacket, and I was admitted, diagnosed as having bipolar disorder.
NAMI has teamed up with Tallahassee Memorial's Behavioral Health Center to create the 2014 gathering to educate people on mental health. Lola Brugnano says that she didn't know anything about mental illness until her mother was diagnosed with a disorder.
This must be normal because it's happening, and we did for a very long time function of times that were worse than others. And for a very long time, like I said, we thought it was normal, but when we started to notice that our friends didn't have necessarily members who were ill in their house, or you could come over anytime, okay? In our house, of course, it depended on whether or not the mother of us was able to handle that, or was isolating or cycling that day and was manic.
The National Alliance on Mental Illness wants people that are struggling to know that their disorder is 100% treatable through medication, counseling, rehabilitation centers, and supportive groups like The Gathering. They do not have to go through their fight alone. For News 20 at 5, I'm Keira. Animals are being abused in the Leon County area every day. At least 70 animals are taken to the Tallahassee-Leon County Animal Service Center a day because of neglect, abuse, and illness. Erica Leckington, the director of the center, says that so many dogs and cats come into the center because owners don't know how to properly take care of them.
The biggest thing that pet owners need to do is to educate themselves about their particular pet in terms of its needs and requirements. Just basic food and water goes a long way with a pet. We see a lot of animals come in very underweight, animals that just have not been provided food, water, shelter. And if someone's tethering their animal, meaning that they're chaining it up, they need a certain amount of room to move around on that chain.
Matthew Owen, a volunteer at the shelter, wishes that more people would come in to adopt the animals.
Are dogs that are long tenured residents. It's really hard to see them. Every week I look forward to seeing the dogs that I develop a relationship with, but it breaks my heart at the same time because they're such good dogs and they deserve a loving forever home.
There are so many animals around the Tallahassee and Leon County area who have been abused and neglected and brought into the center for help. Animals such as Tommy and Thompson here need a forever home, and the Animal Service Center really wants people to come in, volunteer, and even adopt these animals to give them that home they deserve. For News 20 at 5, I'm Keira Green. While the world watched the protests and boycotts going on in Montgomery and Selma in the 1950s and 60s, there was a significant civil rights movement occurring in Florida, especially in Tallahassee. The Museum of Florida History in downtown Tallahassee has recently opened up their new exhibit, Civil Rights in the Sunshine State. Michelle Earn, the curator of the exhibit, says she believes the exhibit is important so that the residents of Tallahassee can know their history.
They think of the civil rights movement, they think of Alabama, they think of Mississippi. They don't really think about Florida, but Florida was extremely important in the movement, and we had thousands of people participate, lots of heroes who risked their jobs, their homes, their lives to to move the cause of justice forward and to move this country forward.
Gary Pettit, the public relations coordinator for the museum, says Tallahassee's involvement in the civil rights era goes unnoticed because the majority of Floridians don't know much about it.
Oftentimes we get visitors in here who know a decent amount of the history of the civil rights movement in Florida, but they still find things that they didn't know, like James Weldon Johnson writing the Lift Every Voice and Sing. A lot of people didn't know that, but he was a native Floridian.
Because of the civil rights movement in Tallahassee and all over Florida, many Floridians and African Americans who live in the state have the rights that they have today. For News 20 at 5, I'm Keira Green.